everybody, this is Happy Sports here, back again with another video today. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about the NFL, specifically the 2020 NFL playoff predictions. I'm going to be running through the bracket, telling you all the matchups, key factors in that matchup, which teams are going to win, and at the end, I'm going to give you my Super Bowl predictions. So this intro does not go on all day, let's just jump right into it. Starting off with the wild card matchups in the AFC. Matchup number 1, we have the Tennessee Titans facing off against the New England Patriots. Now, as a lot of you probably remember, the New England Patriots lost to the Miami Dolphins at the end in week 17 to have to be able to not secure themselves to win the first round bye and have to face off against the Titans. Now, I think this matchup is going to be a lot closer than the 5.5 line indicates. I think the Patriots are actually going to have a really hard time playing against this really good Titans secondary. Great coaching. Not to mention Ryan Tannehill being one of the best quarterbacks in the league list this year at coming back in the fourth quarter from behind. That being said, although I think the Patriots will struggle a little bit more than I think a lot of people think they will, I am going to be picking the New England Patriots to win this one by a field goal. Moving on to the second AFC Wild Card matchup, I have the Buffalo Bills, my Buffalo Bills, facing off against the Houston Texans. Both teams 10-6, a wild card matchup in Houston. Now, I am going to pick my Buffalo Bills in this game. Now, this is not biased, as you will see later on in the video. I just personally think that Buffalo is going to have a really good job shutting down Deshaun Watson. I think they're going to get that pass rush active. I think they're going to rush Deshaun Watson a lot to try and calm him down. Houston has one of the worst defenses in the league, and even with J.J. Watt coming back, I don't think their tail pass rush is going to get much better with him in. As a lot of you probably know, they still weren't really that effective even in the games that he played. Also, we're not sure how rusty he's going to be after being off for a couple of months. I think Buffalo's going to be able to rush the QB properly. I believe this incredible secondary, piloted by All-Pro Tre'Davious White, is going to be able to shut down DeAndre Hopkins, and if he plays, Will Fuller. I believe the Buffalo Bills will be able to squeeze this one out by, let's say, a field goal to a touchdown. I'd say 4 or 5 points. Moving on to the NFC wildcard matchups, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking on the New Orleans Saints. Now, these two teams faced off in last year's playoffs, and they had a pretty controversial and exciting ending. As many of you probably remember, the Miami Miracle. That being said, I do not think that is going to be the case this time. The Saints are a way better team than the Vikings. They were last year, and it's an even bigger difference this year. The Saints are going to win this game. I don't think it's going to be that much of a struggle. I do believe that the Vikings defense will be able to make some difficulties for Drew Brees on that pass rush out of the ball. However, with the Saints having one of the best O-lines in the game, I don't think that'll be enough. Give me the Saints by a touchdown. Moving on to the second wildcard matchup, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Another matchup in the NFC that's probably not going to be that close. I have the Seahawks winning this game by a touchdown, maybe even a little bit more. Philadelphia is not a playoff team. I don't think they are a playoff team. I do think Carson Wentz is a little bit underrated, and I do believe this run game is pretty good. I should know they absolutely terrorized the Bills a couple weeks back, but that defense is kind of worrying. I believe the Seattle Seahawks are going to be able to throw deep bombs all game long. I believe Russell Wilson is going to have an amazing game for himself. Plus, Marshawn Lynch, I believe he'll be able to play pretty good for that team. Give me the Seahawks by a touchdown. Now we move on to the divisional matchups. In the AFC, we start off with the New England Patriots taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, in the 3 times these two teams have faced, it has been an absolute gun show, and I am super excited to see that happens once again. Moving on to the divisional matchups. Starting off in the AFC, we have the New England Patriots having to travel to Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is going to be a great matchup. The newly reformed Chiefs defense, which used to be a dumpster fire last year, but now it's actually a pretty good defense with Tyrann Mathieu in the backfield, manning that fourth down, and actually a pretty decent pass rush, could make this team a pretty good force. However, they're having to play against a New England Patriots team with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, the playoff warriors, not to mention the fact that they have the best defense that I've ever seen, apart from the Bills, of course. So, who do I think is going to win this matchup? Well, for starters, since New England is having to travel to Arrowhead to face on the Chiefs at home, I do believe that gives the Chiefs a slight advantage. Not to mention the fact that I do believe that Patrick Mahomes is going to have a way better performance than Tom Brady. Will the New England Patriots defense somewhat keep him at bay? Yes. But in the end, since Kansas City now has a reformed defense, I can't see Brady doing that much either. Meaning it's going to come down to which quarterback has the best game. And personally, I think that Kansas City will finally put away their demons and take down the Patriots. Give me the Chiefs by a touchdown. Moving on to the second wildcard game, I have the Buffalo Bills going to Baltimore to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this is going to be a really tough matchup. These two teams met a couple weeks ago and the Bills lost by a touchdown, but barely. The Bills, like usual, tried to make a last-minute fourth quarter touchdown come back after a pretty poor offensive effort in the rest of the game, and they almost did it. In fact, John Brown barely dropped the ball at the goal line to prevent it from getting tied up. But Buffalo did a really good job that game in shutting down Lamar Jackson, and without Lamar Jackson, Baltimore's offense looked really flat, as usual. However, at the end of the day, Baltimore did end up taking down Buffalo, not to mention the fact that this game is Buffalo. Now, is in Baltimore. Now, although I do believe that this Buffalo team can definitely travel. In fact, they tend to have a better performances on the road, and they have a better road record than they do have a home record, which is pretty impressive for a young team. However, I do believe that this is where Buffalo's season is going to end. Sorry, Bills Mafia, I wish that this wasn't the case, but I think Baltimore will just barely squeeze us out in a tight defensive game, and Lamar Jackson just does enough to win the game. Baltimore 20, Bills 17. Moving on to the NFC wildcard matchups, I have the Packers taking on the Saints in Green Bay. Now, this is going to be a very good matchup. Although the Packers are at home, you have the incredible matchup of Aaron Rodgers versus Drew Brees, two of the better quarterbacks of this century. Not to mention two great defenses. You have the championship defense of the New Orleans Saints, and then you have the kind of inconsistent but also very impressive Packers defense. Specifically in the secondary. That secondary is really hard to face. However, the Saints are the best team in the playoffs. I don't think this is a question really. I think that they do have some woes, but I think in general they're just the better overall team in the playoffs. Great quarterback, great receiving core, amazing O-line. Like literally, Drew Brees is not going to get pressured whatsoever by this Packers team. Not to mention the fact that although the Packers had a bye week, they have not been that impressive this season. They've had a lot of bad games, they've looked shaky at times, their offense has not looked impressive half the time, and honestly they've been kind of bailed out by some coaching, by some ref mistakes. With that being said, even though it's in Green Bay, I do believe that the Saints are going to win this game by a touchdown. Moving on to my second divisional round in the NFC, I have the Seattle Seahawks taking on the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. Now, personally, I think that this is where the Seahawks season ends. Like, I don't even think that there's a question on this one, I'm sorry. The 49ers have an amazing quarterback. Actually, a pretty impressive quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo. A lot of people don't give him the credit, but he's actually been really good. I mean, he managed to keep up and beat Drew Brees in a shootout. If that doesn't say something, I think nothing does. Now, the Seahawks do have Russell Wilson, but their defense has been an absolute dumpster fire this season. And I do think it's going to be a little bit better this year, as I have seen some tape from Jadeveon Clowney, and I think he does have the potential to turn the Seattle pass rush from just mediocre to actually pretty decent. However, I don't think it's going to be enough. And I don't believe Russell Wilson is going to be able to stand a chance against this incredible 49ers pass rush. I think this 49ers pass rush is going to be able to pressure Russell Wilson just enough to keep him off of his game. 49ers win by a touchdown and a half. Moving on to my championship matches. In the AFC, I have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Now, in this matchup, I am kind of favoring the Baltimore Ravens as they are at home. That is actually a really big deal in the playoffs. Unlike a regular season game, playoff home advantage makes a big difference. However, Baltimore has shown to me that they are not exactly an unbeatable force. For me, as long as you can shut down Lamar Jackson, they aren't that good. Their rushing attack does not have that much depth apart from Lamar Jackson. Their defense is not exactly a dumpster fire, but it's not exactly like Patriots, Saints quality either. It's more just like a decent defense that can kind of stand its own, kind of similar to the Chiefs. With that being the fact, it's going to go down to which offense can do more against each other's defenses. And honestly, since Baltimore has an okay but not great secondary, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to light them up just enough to win this game, even though it's in Baltimore. Give me the Chiefs by a touchdown. Moving on, which means the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. Moving on to the NFC Conference Finals. I have the New Orleans Saints taking on the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco. This is going to be a great game. Amazing game. You have Drew Brees taking on Aaron Rodgers. You have two championship defense going up against each other. And you just have some amazing key matchups in general. You have the 49ers pass rush, which is one of the best pass rushes I've seen personally since the Bears. They're gonna be constantly trying to get at Drew Brees. The question is, how well will this incredible Saints pass protection protect Drew Brees? Personally, I think they're going to do a pretty good job at it. But how well is Drew Brees going to be able to throw with this pressure against the 49ers secondary, which includes people like Richard Sherman? Personally, the answer is I don't think it's going to be enough. Also, I think the Saints defense is going to somewhat struggle against this brilliant 49ers pass rush. Give me the 49ers by a touchdown. I'd say 30-23. Yeah, 30-23. And now we have the grand finale, the Super Bowl. From the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs, and then from the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers. This is going to be a tremendous game. You have the Kansas City offense specialing Patrick Mahomes and then Travis Kelce and company with that amazing receiving core that this 49ers secondary is going to have to try and attempt to shut down. You have the incredible 49ers You have the incredible 49ers running game and how Kansas City is going to try to attempt to tame them. This game is going to be in San Francisco, which gives San Fran a gigantic advantage, of course, at being the Super Bowl. So, who do I think is going to be the champion? Well, I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to do quite a lot against this 49ers team. I do believe that they have a really good secondary, and I do believe that this pass rush by the San Francisco 49ers is going to be able to keep Patrick Mahomes just barely on his toes enough for the San Francisco 49ers to win their first Super Bowl since 1995. I believe that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to finally choke under the pressure, which they should have done a while ago. The Chiefs have gotten this label as a choking team for a couple of years now, ever since the classic Reed effect became a meme. I do believe that the San Francisco 49ers will be able to win this game by a score of 33-27. I think that this 49ers defense is going to be able to do just enough to shut down this Kansas City Chiefs offense. I believe that this 49ers team is going to have to focus on running the ball and playing defense. Because this Kansas City secondary is no joke. If you try to pass it, they will punish you. But this incredible 49ers pass rush, I can't see Kansas City having a way of dealing with it. Thank you, and I'll see you all next episode. Once again, guys, I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button and smash the subscribe button so you guys do not miss out on my upcoming videos. Sorry I didn't make the weekly reviews for the last 2 weeks of the NFL regular season. That is mostly because I didn't have the time because I was sick, also because it was New Year's Eve, and I probably run a hotel with my family, so there was quite a lot of work to be done. I'm sorry, that's no excuse. I should have been able to get the videos out for you guys. Either way, I'm glad to see that we're in the playoffs now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I'm with my predictions. However, knowing my luck, the Patriots will probably make the playoffs and win. Anyways, bye guys. I'll see you all next time. I'm from Sports, signing out.